Communities mourn after a violent weekend in Colorado. One memorial in Greeley.
Why did he have to do that to her? You know, there was no reason for it.
And another here in Denver.
They took somebody that touched many lives that nobody can get back.
As family and friends speak out against the violence. Plus, crossing at your own risk.
They'll get here and not even stop. They'll just keep going. As long as they can see the car not coming, they'll keep going. But they're looking for cars. They're not looking for kids.
The street known for speeding past a school and the neighborhood fight for a solution.
And just hours away from liftoff, we're taking a look at tomorrow's launch to the moon, the first trip back in half a century. Thank you for joining us tonight for Denver 7 News at 10. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
And I'm Brian Wang. We start tonight with an update on a deadly quadruple shooting in Denver's Sunnyside neighborhood.
We now know one man was killed, 3 others were shot, including 2 young girls. Now, police are still looking for the shooter tonight. Denver 7's Patrick Perez joins us live from the Growing Memorial. And Patrick, you've been speaking to family members there tonight about this senseless loss.
Yeah, Jacqueline, and the family is obviously very distraught over what happened. Tomas Jimenez's sister says she lost her best friend, and she is very upset over the senseless gun violence that she says took his life. Now, right now, you can see candles still burning in the night next to some flowers and balloons as part of Tomas's memorial. Now, this is at the corner of West 42nd Avenue near North Clay Street. His sister and neighbors tell us there was a house party at a neighbor's house in front of Tomas's that may have gotten out of control. By the time someone called 911 to report it, people nearby heard gunshots. Tomas was one of 4 people shot just after 1 o'clock this morning. That includes a woman and 2 children. The circumstances around this shooting are still under investigation, but Tomas's sister wants whoever did this to know the damage that they've done.
Something needs to happen with the gun laws. Too many men and young kids are dying, and it's the young kids that are having access to these guns. He wasn't a boy. He wasn't a 20 years old. He was a 41-year-old man who was living his life in his home, you know, doing what he thought was right to come out here.
And tonight we saw the family praying next to Tomas's memorial, hoping to get justice for him. As far as the family knows, and as far as Denver police has said, there have been no arrests. But if you have any information, give police a call or Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. For now, we're live in Denver. I'm Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
Oh, so disturbing. Thank you, Patrick. And this is just one of a slew of shootings across the Denver Metro this weekend. In total, 10 people were shot in 5 separate incidents this weekend. 2 of those people died, 8 others were injured. All of these happened in either Denver or Aurora, and no arrests have been reported.
The Greeley community is also hurting tonight, mourning a 22-year-old woman who was killed while closing up her place of work Friday night.
Family and friends have identified her as Angie Vega. Today, a memorial outside the NoCo nutrition store where she worked continues to grow. Her family plans to speak out before tomorrow night's vigil. That's scheduled to take place from 6 to 8 p.m. in front of the store. And today we watched dozens of people stop by to pay their respects to Angie.
And it was heartbreaking. Police say she was closing up shop Friday night when officers noticed someone had broken into the business and that Angie was missing. A few hours later, someone found her car at this gas station right here on your screen near 20th and 71st. She was found dead in the back seat. The suspect, 24-year-old Marcos Vallejos, has been charged with murder and sexual assault. Criminal records show he was arrested in 2021 for burglary, damaging property, and trespassing. He was also wanted on 2 warrants.
And a family friend told Denver 7 today Vallejos had visited the store several times in the past. They say he was asked to leave one day because he was making everyone uneasy. So we reached out to Greeley Police tonight to confirm that information, but we have not yet heard back.
Certainly keep you updated as we learn more. Portions of C-470 were shut down earlier today near Acres Green Drive as Douglas County Sheriff's deputies pulled over the driver of a stolen vehicle. DCSO says they detained several people and reopened the highway shortly after.
2 Aurora brothers will be doing federal time in a major drug trafficking bust. The feds announced today the men were working together to bring meth and fentanyl disguised as heroin into Colorado. In a plea deal, they've both been sentenced to more than a decade in federal prison, and the U.S. Attorney says he hopes drug dealers take note.
The mayor of Jackson, Mississippi is urging people to evacuate as record-setting rain starts flooding streets. The governor declared a state of emergency Saturday for parts of the state. A reservoir just north of Jackson crested this morning, but there's still a lot of water that must flow downstream, according to officials. The Pearl River is expected to crest at 36 feet tonight or tomorrow, earlier than initial projections. The Red Cross is on standby to open shelters. Search and rescue teams are ready to go as well.
A federal judge in Florida is now asking the Justice Department to provide some more specific information about the classified records removed from former President Trump's Florida estate. The unsealed affidavit used to obtain the search warrant was heavily redacted, but has provided some insight into the investigation. The FBI launched the search based in part on evidence from a significant number of civilian witnesses. The DOJ warning that as the investigation continues, key witnesses could face intimidation or retaliation. Meanwhile, there is an ongoing grand jury investigation, and prosecutors have already identified potential targets with a clear indication that they are looking for more.
The most important part that's redacted, though, relates to the obstruction. And that, to me, is what this all is going to come down to. And it's not just an obstruction of justice charge. It's exactly what actions were taken to thwart this investigation, to thwart getting back those documents.
The Director of National Intelligence confirmed her office has begun an assessment of any risk to national security as a result of classified materials being kept at Trump's residence. All right, in just 8 hours, American astronauts will begin making their way to the moon as NASA's Artemis 1 takes off. So here is a live look from the Kennedy Space Center right now.
Very cool. The 2-hour launch window begins at about 6:30 a.m. our time. ABC's Morgan Norwood is in Florida with more on all of tomorrow's excitement.
The excitement is growing as the countdown for America's return to the moon gets underway.
I'm very pumped. So I was actually a part of the test team that tested the functionality of the rocket and the avionics. It's like seeing your work right here, you know?
NASA's Artemis 1 is expected to blast off Monday morning from the Kennedy Space Center. We ran into some tiny experts who were willing to discuss the mission with us. What do you know about this rocket? Where's it going to go?
To the moon? That's far.
Yeah, and no astronauts on it.
No astronauts?
This is the test flight.
The plan is for the most powerful rocket in the world, the SLS, to carry the Orion capsule into orbit. It'll go around the world once, then toward the moon, looping around the moon once before coming back to Earth.
This is really a test flight. We're stressing the system. This is really the risk is not low on this mission.
The last manned flight to the moon was Apollo 17 back in 1972. Ross McKenzie has lived in that area since 1966 and remembers the Apollo launch as well.
Something good will come out of it. I don't think we knew all the discoveries, inventions, progress we'd make even from our first time to the moon.
This first mission is expected to take about 42 days to complete before returning to Earth. If all goes well with this test flight, by 2024, Americans could be going to the moon to stay.
This mission being successful is a sign to the world and to the American people that we've been doing our best with your resources.
I'm so proud of what is happening in terms of our space program and the leadership that the United States is providing to the world. I'm very excited to be here. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Cape Canaveral.
This is so exciting. We spoke with an Air Force colonel and one of the astronauts selected for one of the upcoming Artemis missions. Raja Chari is a test pilot and says this mission will be pushing engineering beyond anything humans have ever seen before.
Every phase of this, whether it's the Earth orbit, the lunar injection orbit, the lunar orbit, which will go further from Earth than anything meant for humans has ever gone before in history, and the re-entry of the atmosphere. Every piece of those is a pretty big technical risk, and that to me is what's exciting, is taking those risks and pushing the technology to see if we can do it.
We have Raja's full interview posted right now on the denverchannel.com. We'll also have full coverage of the launch in our morning show starting at 4:30.
Coming up, kids in Thornton scared of walking home from school because of speeding traffic.
Because sometimes I walk and then people don't even stop and they just go vroom.
Why this neighborhood says they have proof something needs to change.
Plus, sleepless in Seattle, not the Broncos. They'll be getting ready to take on the Seahawks. Our Denver 7 sports team breaks down the roster.
And the push to plant 1 billion trees. Why it means a big investment in growing this Colorado nursery.